Hello everyone, my name is Vasily RN6LHF and I'm glad to see you on my channel RN6LHF here on YouTube, and nice to meet you again. And today we will discuss new version of ExpertSDR3 software 1.04, which was published a couple days ago. Before our holiday days, and we will discuss remote control of all our radios, some news interesting in hardware way and software way. Also, I'm today on my working place. Our studio was disassembled and it's under construction, and I'm working now from my job place. Also, you can see here MB1 radio with the SP Expert, I think 1.5 kilowatts amplifier, condenser mic here, and the headsets. And sometime I'm working in air from here, and now I'm here, and today is cold. It's about +6 degrees, and I'm in in warm clothes, and it's okay. And first, which I want to say and to inform you, it's remote control. We spend on about 2.5, maybe 3 months, and we try to add a new CW core to all the remote control software without access, and we now make decision to create absolutely new remote software, remote server software based on new technologies like ExpertSDR3, because remote server based on the old construction, old source code, which was developed about 4 and 5 years ago. Yes, we added class, but mostly it's old architecture of remote server. And now our main programmer, which develops ExpertSDR3, he started to develop new version of remote control server software based on new technologies in programming, and it's based on ExpertSDR3 technologies. Yes, and in ExpertSDR3 side, as a client software, it's okay. All is okay for today, and it's ready for working in remote control in all modes, and also in CW modes. And we should make new server with a CW core, with new CW core, which all you uses now in ExpertSDR3, in encoder 2 panel, control panel in your radios, in your transceivers. We will discuss your questions. If you have it, you can type it in local chat in this stream, and we will discuss your questions some later. Also, we working under new firmware for all our radios. Because, as you know, firmware for some SDR radios was developed about 10 and more years ago. The first firmware was developed in 2010, 2011, and now with some adjustments it here and in our and your radios, and we are ready for new we are ready for new firmware, and I think all you also ready we are ready to implement it, to develop, and you're ready to implement it to firmware, to your hardware, to your radio, because a new firmware allows to use LC, allows to use duplex mode, it allows to make it faster, because for today our MCU, our microcontroller chip is loaded about 95%, and we should change firmware core to make it, to optimize it, to make it faster and make it more modern, by the way. And we're also ready for it, we're working under it, and the new CW core will be implemented here and optimized for working. Also, we have news in hardware, in the hardware direction, because all you know about Calibri DDC receiver. We already finished designing of new Calibri DDC 2023 receiver, and it will be a new radio based on 16 bits high-speed ADC from analog devices and linear LTC 2209, which used in all our radios, in all our big brothers like SDR3 Pro, SDR3 DX, MB1 radio, and from this year it will be implemented to Calibri DDC receiver 2023 edition, and in all new. Next years it will be the same platform as SDR3 Pro. It's easy to support it, firstly, and secondly it will be the same excellent receiver like in the SDR radios and MB1 radios, and your remote receiver will be the best receiver, because here it will be the same receiver as in SDR3 Pro, for example. And we will release it in maybe in 1 or 2 months, and it will have the same design like like a Calibri Nano receiver. I mean metal design, which have 2 parts, maybe some cooler head thing on the top, and fully metal design. Our company now is bigger and bigger, and we bought a big CNC machine to manufacturing metal design for all our radios, and it will make it will be easy for us to design and produce new radios, and which have fully metal design. We like it, like Calibri Nano, and a new receiver, Calibri DDC, will be, I think, a first step in new lines of devices with full metal design after CNC machine, and it will has in the first model one ADC. We plan to put here a second ADC with full RF part with filters, attenuators, linear amplifiers, low noise amplifiers, I mean, and I think it will be interesting for remote control, for local using, and I think it will be good for all us. Let's see what's new, what we have in our release notes. In version ExpertSDR3 1.04 release, and I think most of you already saw it, but maybe not. And let's see what's new. Firstly, in options features, and features tab added possibility to launch bad scripts for Windows and SH for macOS. It's important feature for cases if you want to create, for example, two tasks in your systems or any software. For example, two copies of JTDX software for working for different workings, for independent working with first and second RX, for example. In options, next features is in option. You can we added to profile storing threshold of automatic ADC by band and modes. It's interesting when you use different modes and you want to listen to see different thresholds levels. Was updated EIBI library. It's not you cannot view it, but it's already added. As our programmers released in information in release notes, visualization will be implemented in later versions. Next feature now read and exit parameters are displayed on a panorama. Near controlled filter, you can see it on the picture below. I think it's more comfortable for use now. New features for radio sync software. Only knows that that ExpertSDR3 software has only one port for working with different other third parts of software. It's a TCI interface. It's a network interface, comfortable, but not all software supports TCI yet, and you can use classical interfaces like COM ports, audio interfaces like virtual audio cables, sound cards, and other devices. And if you're working in contests with two or more working places, you want to use software blocking, you can use now PTT transfer mode optimized for this mode. For example, you can connect PTT foot switch to encoder panel, encoder 1, encoder 2, doesn't matter. And the radio and the software ExpertSDR3 will transfer PTT information about PTT to TCI. TCI will transfer it to radio sync, and radio sync will transfer it to N1MM, for example, logger, and the logger will check other working operator place, and will and will send to radio via CAT system, via CAN port to radio sync TX event, and your radio goes to TX and will use microphone signal. If you use microSS from logger, switch your radio to TX, and the radio will use virtual audio cables from radio sync and use microSS, voice microSS, not microphone. And radio sync now control PTT pressing, PTT switching from foot switch, and automatically change microphone input from mic to virtual audio cables from TCI. Back fixes, detection of TX lock in split mode. Sometimes when you use split operation, TX frequency can be used not correctly, and now all is okay, it should. X control initialization. When you started your software ExpertSDR3, sometimes, in any cases you can find that X control not working or working not correctly. Now it's already fixed. TX of the recording via voice recorder. It was corrected levels and algorithms of voice recorder now to work properly. Initialization of AGC threshold default value. Sometime you can listen in your ExpertSDR3 previous versions that AGC level used software used not correct level from default settings, and now it's already fixed. Initialization of RX filter parameters, the same problem was fixed. RX mute is now applied to audio line output. I think it's understandable. Setting the frequency for the XVTR. Some of you who used super high frequencies want to use frequencies higher than 12 gigahertz, and now you can use up to 99 gigahertz in transverter settings, and it will work okay. As I know, 200 gigahertz is the high level limits of radio frequencies, and higher frequencies higher than 200 gigahertz. It's not radio frequencies, maybe light or something. And but in ExpertSDR3 we support high limit. It's 99 gigahertz. If you want higher, some of you, please inform us via tech support or email or GitHub, and please give us feedback about it. 1 second. Okay, the ERS features will implement the ExpertSDR3 adding 1.0 final release. This information about I tell you before. New version of remote control will support ATU in DX and MB1 radios automatically after release. CW mode transmission. Mostly CW mode, it's a cause of our new decision to create new remote control, because old core, like in ExpertSDR2, most of you remember when we tried to add new features, maybe fix some bug. after release you can find a new bug, or maybe not the feature, other feature correct not properly, and it's a cause of ExpertSDR3 on your installed on your PCs and in your radios, like MB1 maybe. And new remote control software will based on new technologies like ExpertSDR3 and will work properly. Known bugs is the current in the current ExpertSDR3 104 firmware bugs. It's depend only from firmware, and software bugs mentioned on GitHub. Yes. Sometimes you ask our tech support, maybe Roman, or why I send feedback to GitHub and I can't get some feedback from GitHub from programmers, and maybe your programmers not received my information. No, dear friends. GitHub, it's feedback to programmers only for information and only for working with it, and only for programmers. And we optimized working of feedbacks from you to programmers, and we remove one point as our tech support guys who transferred information from you to programmers. Now you can send it directly, and our programmer and programmers can see all your feedbacks, and they use it. They created a special list, and they create a strategy to implement some features to fix bugs, and sometimes programmers can close your bug reports because he can't find it. He can after check he can find this problem. Maybe he can ask you sometimes and ask you to send some more information about it. But it's GitHub, it's platform not for chatting and not for talking about your issues. Just only for feedback and working. And if our programmers will talk about it with you on GitHub, they cannot work, will not work with software source code. Please understand me. If you have some questions about ExpertSDR3 software, radios, send me information in chat and I'll answer you. Please don't send a message about war, because Expert Electronics only for peace in the world, and we trying to concentrate our working only in radio, and we trying to create best radios, good software, and we're trying to bring it to all you, and we trying not discuss it here. We too close to border, and we know what is it, and in these conditions we're trying to save our rhythm of working with radio, with software. We're trying to develop new devices, new interesting features in the software, and please understand me. For example, now we're working with new under new firmwares for all our radios, because as I said before, firmware was developed more than 10 years ago, and now we are ready to implement it. Says hello everybody. Okay, dear friends. Sometimes I'm working on my MB1 radio. I has antenna from 80 meters up to 10 meters, and sometimes I'm working on 20 meters band, and I hope to see you and to listen you in air. Maybe you can meet me here. It's not so it not frequently events, but sometime I'm working here. When do you think more or less the remote core will be ready for CW? Christian Panaya, CW core will be ready at the same time when we will be ready remote control new core of new server software. It will be implemented simultaneously because it's a cause why we want to create new remote control software, server software, only for CW, for correct working with not stable internet, in cases with not stable internet connection, and it will be at the same time. It will be released at the same time. CW core. I think a new server software will have automatic buffer size control for different ping for cases when ping time is changed, maybe change like spikes, for example, from 100 milliseconds up to maybe 500 or maybe 1 seconds. It should working correctly for all cases, and it will be released at the same time. Can you please fix the S-meter breakout problem in macOS? It's been broken since 1.03 and submitted to GitHub months ago. Yes, sure. If our programmer submitted, he will fix it. Be sure. One irritating function is monitor functions. You have to switch between CW and in CW. This should be fixed. Lars Peterson. If you sent Lars, hello. If you already sent it on GitHub and programmer is saw it, he will do it. Okay. If you have some other questions, please ask me. I'll ask our programmer to see all your comments. I'm copy it to my special file and send it to our special chat. And our programmer will see your direct questions to me, to this chat, your messages, and I think he will answer me. If you have some other questions about the information from this stream, ask me in the comments below the video, because after stream finished, it will be moved to translations and like a normal video, and you can ask me, or maybe other colleagues about information from video. Thanks for the answer, Vasily. I mean, more or less when you will release it this year or not. Yes, Christian, it will be this year. I think I not love to create diagnosis, but I hope it will be in a couple of months, because all you want to see remote control. I want to see remote control. Sorry, remote control, and because I have remote position with good antennas and excellent air conditions, and I want to use my remote positions too, like you too. Hello, Vasily. When will be fixed the 2-3 second delay in remote mode for SSB? It's the same cause of creating new remote server software, because delay in SSB mode in 2-3 seconds. I'm not working in SSB or remotely because we have for today this issue, and it will be fixed automatically at the same time with the CW core and new remote control. When will future updates be issued approximately? Future updates. I think if you mean ExpertSDR3 software, I think in a couple months will be released new update. Maybe 2 months, maybe 1.5, maybe 2.5. Most of all our powerful our programmers working now under remote control. ExpertSDR3 now in a stable mode with some issues is known with known issues, and our main programmers are working now under remote control. Maybe you don't know, our previous version of remote control, so I mean server software, was developed by our good programmers, and they now working under CNC SMT machine. If you don't know, you can type it PPlacer 4. We produce and develops and manufacturing SMT machine for manufacturing of electronics, and our programmers which released remote server, now we switched them to SMT machine software, and because they support SMT machine and don't I think don't understand deep radio, and radio working in air, and our main programmers who create ExpertSDR3 now will create server software as a one platform and based on principles of ExpertSDR3 software source code. I think I can bring main idea to you, and it will be like a one platform ExpertSDR3 server software with the same source code, with the new technologies in programming software, and the issues with delays issues with CW core, which cannot be implemented to old remote server. It's a cause of starting new project with a new remote server. It will work stable with CW from the box, with low delays, limited by your internet connection, and the other new features. When will be released of next release of V3. V3 will be released. It's a middle update in a couple of months. Will adaptive tune be also on MB1? No, only with a encoder adaptive tune. Will adaptive tune be also on MB1? Yes, will be. Will we get a pre-distortion still this year, HB9 ND? As I said before, now we're working with under new firmware, and the first step will be full duplex mode. Full duplex mode allow us to implement pre-distortion mode, and our programmers, hardware programmers, working now under new firmware, which will support duplex and next step pre-distortion mode. I hope this year. Because the main task to release new firmware with the duplex mode is the main feature and the main task for us before your question, before pre-distortion mode. I wish all the best to all EE teams. Thank you for your great works and effort for us. Christian, thank you very much, Christian, and of all you, and for your support, for your feedback to us, because I think only full feedback from you about new features, about bug reports, give us possibility to make it better, I think, and I can repeat it every time. The most of all interesting features was added here to the software after your feedbacks, and I think it's interesting and it's nice when you can feel your results in the software which you put here to the software and the firmware. I think it's interesting. Dear friends, I should finish for today. You can send your questions here in the chat, and you can send message comments below the video after streaming stop. It was nice to see you here on my channel RN6LHF. It will be nice to listen you in the air, maybe I think on 20 meters band. And see you again later here on my channel. See you on our Telegram channels, and we'll discuss you something more, and maybe about some more information about our streams, my streams today. Any info for MB1 GUI, Jordan? Yes, it will be next minor release, because I'm waiting GUI 2 with you, Jordan. I'm used now ExpertSDR3 software, and because we haven't MB1 GUI on V3 version 3. SDR3 was running very good for the last contests, Super NCW and SSB. Thank you, Andy, for feedback. We use only ExpertSDR3 in the contests with SunSDR2 DXS. It's nice to see that new way of ExpertSDR3 software based on new technologies and platform, it's working, and it's cause why we moved from ExpertSDR2 to version 3. Dear friends, thank you very much for your time, for your staying here on my channel. Send me questions in the comments, and see you in my next stream on other channels, I think information channels like a Telegram, Radio Air, and other. Thank you very much. Good luck in the contests. I wish you have long QSOs connects with DX and other DX expeditions, and I wish you radio works stable, software works very well, and new interesting features in the new versions of software. We will work under it. Thank you very much. Here was Vasily, RN6LHF. See you next time. Bye-bye.